as a medium, I've received a lot of, unbelievable messages and feelings that were just uncanny when it comes to the afterlife. I was struggling really bad when my sweet Paco, when his time came to cross the Rainbow Bridge, and I had an appointment for at-home euthanasia the night before. I was really questioning my decision and having a hard time with it, even though even the vet agreed it was time. And I laid with him one last time. I promised myself I would not cry, so I'm going to do my best not to. I laid with him when we went to bed the night before for the last time. He's tucked into his little space next to me, and I'm holding his little paw. Today would have been his 17th birthday, by the way, my sweet boy. And I was going into absolute panic attacks. Waves of panic were coming over me because I knew that I was going to have to let him go, and I just did not know how I was going to do that. And in between those waves of panic, all of a sudden, I connected to an energy. I didn't ask to do it. I didn't pray. I didn't try. All of a sudden, the panic that was coming over me just stopped, and I tapped into somehow the most peaceful energy a person could ever experience. And I will never, ever forget this. And I'm holding his paw and I'm petting him, and I'm just laying there in a dark room trying to go to sleep with him. And all of a sudden, anxiety clears, waves of heavenly sort of energy connect to me, and I have a vision of heaven. And that vision showed me, like what my version of heaven is. But there was an area where all of these happy dogs and animals were, but it was dogs in particular. They were running and they were greeting people who were coming into this gorgeous, cloud-filled environment. And the people were coming and the dogs were running up to them and taking them places and showing them things, and they were so happy. And I was literally given the information in that moment that dogs were the ushers of heaven. And I don't think anything could be more beautiful. Nothing gave me more peace. I was literally told dogs are the ushers of heaven. They're the ones that greet everyone. Everyone that comes there gets greeted by dogs. They're happy. They're with each other. They're loving life. They're playing. And I just have to tell you that if you're concerned about your pet in the afterlife, and this has brought me peace in my most desperate moments throughout this losing him process, if you're worried about them, know that they are in absolute serenity and happiness. They're doing their thing. They're surrounded by people that love them, and they are actually the ushers of heaven. And so they are showing people the way. They're, imagine what would be better to be greeted by than the energy of a loving, happy, pure, joy dog. There just isn't anything better. But most of all, the energy that I felt when I tapped into this was like nothing I ever felt before. It wasn't. I've prayed to have it again. I wanted to see more of it. I didn't want it to go away. When it left, I was sort of revived and happier than I was. But at the same time, I would give anything to feel it again. And there's no denying it. It was real. It wasn't something I conjured. I wasn't thinking about it. It just came. And as a medium, we can tell you that that's one of the ways you really know something is coming in legitimately, is you're not trying for it. You're not reaching for it. You just have it there. It's just there. It wasn't there one moment and the next minute it was. So I hope that it brings you some peace if you have recently lost a dog, to know that they are the ushers of heaven. And they're so happy. And they're going to be the usher that greets you first when you get there to join them. Happy birthday to my sweet Paco. And I'm sending you lots of love if you're hurting from the loss of a pet.